Hey everyone, it's Kong again with another episode of Should You Summon? As always, I'm going to be presenting high-level overviews to help you decide whether this banner is worth your hard-earned vouchers and crystals. This week is the beginning of a new major update, which means we have the opportunity to summon a couple of new Langrisser mobile OCs again, Tatalia and Nymph. This banner will run for the entire duration of the monthly cycle. As a raid-up banner, whenever you manage to get an SSR hero, it'll have a 40% chance of being either Tatalia or Nymph, with the remaining 20% reserved for any random off-banner unit in the regular summoning pool. So we'll start with Tatalia. Tatalia is a little assassin with huge dragon hands. She gets a bonus to attack and crit rate in her talent, and she deals a little splash of fixed damage to her target and nearby squares after battle. The more unique part of her talent is that after she takes action, she can choose to curse an enemy unit, causing them to inflict debuffs on any allies they use skills on. This kind of reminds me of Kruger, although instead of being part of a skill, it's just built right into her talent and refreshes every 3 turns. Her 3-cost skill passively gives her some conditional damage reduction and a revive that only triggers if she dies when she's the one attacking, kind of like Cherie's 1-up. The active component is a 3-range guard-ignoring single attack whose damage mod is determined by the highest damage single target skill the victim has equipped, from 1.3 times to 2 times damage. She has 3 more normal guard-ignoring skills and a couple of mobility-boosting 1-cost skills. Sly Stride lets her move 3 spaces after getting a kill, and her unique 1C splashes debuffs around her talent-cursed enemy and then lets her move 3 spaces to act again. She's a member of Meteor Strike, buffed by Zerida and Epsilon, Dark Reincarnation, buffed by Bozel and Licorice, and Mythical Realm, buffed by Gizaroth and the Sage of the Trees. For bonds, she unlocks the attack bond for her banner mate, Nymph. For her own bonds, she needs Theon for her defensive bond, and once again, her bannermate Nymph for her own attack bond. Annoying. For content, in PvE, she's on faction for Leviar and Scylla, where she's actively detrimental, and Jormungandr and Fenrir in Ancient Beckoning. A single target debuff-based assassin isn't likely to work any major wonders in general PvE or challenges, though. In PvP, she is another assassin. Her factions aren't great for PvP, at least until Mythical Realm gets a long-awaited auto-faction buffing tank or something, but don't hold your breath. She has good enough reach and good enough killing potential, but there are only 15 slots in a box, and who are you going to kick out for her? Most of the other viable assassins right now do other stuff. For her build, as an assassin, she likes stuff like Last Rites and King's Crown and Breeze. Her accessory can be whatever plus attack accessory suits your needs the most. The new Edge of Memories that's like a physical dimensional jewel would probably be a good one. Twilight Star if you think you can or need to pop 100% HP targets, although a lot of those are immune to fixed damage now. Whatever effective damage type accessory if you have a specific target class in mind. You know the drill. For her weapon, Lurker's Sting lets her attack from further away if you're not using the 3 full move from her act again. It keeps her effective range about the same, but it does allow her to retreat back to a safer spot. And Crystal Stinger is of course always strong for cutting through enemy defenses. Okay, so let's move on to Nymph. Well, we started getting centaurs a month or so ago, and now Nymph is our first official mermaid? She's an odd duck. Her talent is purely defensive utility. At the start of the map, adjacent allies get a bubble that reduces the next instance of incoming AoE damage by 45%. After she uses 3 skills, this talent refreshes itself. But her 3-cost skill is an amalgam of a self buff that spreads healing around her after she acts, and an RNG debuff that makes it so enemies have a chance of being stunned after they act. She also has a 1C skill that heals herself and her target and gives 2 turns of reactive healing after taking damage, but then the rest of her normal skills are DPS focused, so she's a little bit of a mixed bag. She's a member of Meteor Strike, buffed by Zerida and Epsilon, Princess Alliance, buffed by Luna, Shelfaniel, and Christiane, and Yeles Legends, buffed by Landius and Sigma. For bonds, she unlocks the attack bond for her bannermate Tatalia, and for her own bonds, she only needs Tatalia for her own attack bond. Still annoying, but not quite as annoying. For content in PvE, she's on faction for Leviar, Phoenix, and Scylla in the Eternal Temple, and Jormungandr and Nidhogg in Ancient Beckoning. Maybe she could serve as a stand-in for Juglar in Jormungandr, at least insofar as she can use her 2C single-target skill to change his tree into water. That's one of Juglar's main jobs there, but not his only one, so this will probably only be helpful for people who somehow have Nymph and not Juglar. On the PvP side, her strange kit limits the kinds of boxes I can see that might want to use her. I could see her talent being useful for turtle teams, or people who are desperately trying to avoid AoE rush, which isn't the most common strategy right now, and Nymph might not be the best answer to that to begin with. In the end, she might be one of those units like Lugner that interested parties will build just to see how she fits into the team, but I think the majority of players might have trouble making space for her. For her build, just like her skills, her gear will fluctuate based on what you expect to do with her. Full Moon is a pretty good enchant for units who need to heal and harm, or you could opt to give her a purely defensive enchant just to try to keep her alive while she passively does stuff. You could use a Red Moon if you're focusing on her DPS skills, or you could go with a Gift of Eternal Life to give her more healing utility. As an aquatic unit, she can make use of Last Rites, so if you want to maintain that damage reduction at 100% HP, you could give her a Heart of Redemption or a Meditation Ring. Dimensional Jewel has good stats and might give you better skill uptime for refreshing her talent bubble. These little build sections are always just examples of the kinds of things to think about to help you guide your own decision making. Alright, so let's carry on with the notes for Noobs. Tatalia is a side grade for current units in her assassin niche, and she's not really needed for anything else. Nymph does a couple of newish things like her AoE bubble and her sleep effect, so some specific PvP boxes might want to experiment with her. My evaluation of both of these units is that future exclusive gear or unlocking future bonds may make their stonks go up, but for now they're skippable. It's just a shame Zlong's become so stingy with rerunning characters. We have to wait longer and see fewer and fewer Destiny banners these days. Speaking of which, let's move along to my usual reminder about those upcoming banners. Next week sees the return of the underwhelming Leo Beck on a raid-up alongside Autocrato IV. This will run alongside our usual monthly wishlist banner for Langrisser 1-3 heroes. The following week will give us a Destiny banner featuring Toa, Ashamar, and Illustrial. This will run alongside the monthly Langrisser 4-5 wishlist banner. Finally, the double Destiny banners at the end of the month will be Helena, Betty, and Werner, and the old classic Luna, Liana, and Bozel. Next month's update will be 2 more new OCs, and the month after that will be 2 more new OCs. So 3 straight months of brand new, fresh Zlong Games creations. I remember when this was a Langrisser game. And then November-December will be the Slayers crossover with Lina Inverse. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I am not super excited about these characters, to be honest, but Tatalia is cute, and I feel like I need a summoning video to break up all these Apex Arena replays I've been posting. So, may Lushyrus have mercy on my wallet. Thank you so much for watching, I wish you all the best of luck in your summoning or saving, and I'll catch you in the next Should You Summon. Extra special thanks, of course, to our Langrisser tier channel members for generously supporting the channel directly. Shout out to Levitt, Kate Soon, Jared Portela, Jerome Meyer, and Harambe.